Yeah, just if anyone cares, we're talking about the Detroit Lions and the former San Diego Chargers.
The Superchargers.
Superchargers, yeah. So much cooler.
Anyway,
all right.
Let's move on in this shitty movie to another shitty portion of the movie.
Yeah. All right. Hail Toddo.
What's going on?
We got a podcast, The Buff and the Blazer. If I was a listener, where would I go to find more?
You can check us out on our website, thebuffandtheblazer.com. Drew over there writes a article that goes along with every single episode.
You can find all kinds of little extras on the articles, and you can listen to the podcast right there. Also, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, we're on Twitter at Buff and Blazer. Follow us there.
Get those clicks, people.
The Buff and the Blazer.
Welcome to episode 51 of the Buff and the Blazer podcast, the show where we break down and discuss films past and present. As always, I'm Drew, and I'm here with the one, the only, Mr. El Toddo.
What's going on, dude?
How's it going?
Good? It's
Yeah.
leaf apocalypse up here.
Leaf apocalypse.
Yeah, man, all the oak trees be dropping, and so it's just like I could fill up, 15 school buses with leaves.
I like that, man. Dude, I'm digging our new mic setup.
Yeah,
I'm
they
hoping
do
it's coming
sound
across
better.
to the listeners. Yeah, we're getting a little fancier on the show.
I guess.
Well, the film we're going to discuss this week is, I think it's fair to call it a little film that was released to streaming last week, or a couple weeks ago, and it's called Wander, directed by April Mullen. And this, again, was another film that we had to kind of dig to find because the streams are a bit bare these days.
Not for long.
Not for long, thanks to Warner Brothers. They got the idea. But anyway, so I think I rented this movie for like $6, I think.
Same here, $6.99.
Okay. Well, let's just dive right in. What did you think of Wander?
I like the trailer a lot more than the movie. I was trying really hard to get into it. It was kind of meant to be a super psychological mindfuck, but it really wasn't too difficult to follow. And I feel like it was just trying to be too many things. And the story didn't connect that well with me. The acting was what really sold us, right? When we were looking around for a movie, we looked at the cast list and we were like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, the cast
That
list
looks
for sure.
good. And for the most part, it was. But yeah, I didn't like it very much.
Yeah.
There were a lot of elements that I didn't like. I didn't like the shaky cam. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the music, particularly. Some spots it was like so taking over everything. And yeah, it was a bit of a flop for me. I'm really glad I rented it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I was actually going to say the same thing. I'm really glad I rented this movie.
Yeah.
So I just went back and bought Dreamland. I'm really pissed I didn't buy it the first time. This film, I made a pretty good decision by renting. Like you said, I think on paper the cast list looks really impressive. I love Tommy Lee Jones. He's a really good actor. Aaron Eckhart is a really good actor. And then you have Catherine Winnick, who everyone loves Catherine Winnick.
Lagatha.
Yep, for sure. And then Heather Graham. I haven't seen her in a while, so it was cool to see her on this cast list.
Yeah, it was great to see her again.
But I have to say, I think the only thing in this film I really kind of enjoyed was not so much the cinematography in terms of, the way the camera work was executed. Sometimes, but not all the time. But it was more so what the camera photographed in certain instances. There was some really cool imagery. But other than that, to be honest, I thought Aaron Eckhart was completely miscast in this movie.
Yeah.
I just did not buy the character he was selling. But everyone else I thought did okay. Like Tommy Lee Jones, the whole rest of the cast I thought was great. But I just feel like it's not that Aaron Eckhart is a bad actor. It's just I feel like this role wasn't right for him.
Yeah, he's more of the slick, good-looking, good-talking guy, not the crazy conspiracy theory guy.
Yeah. So that kind of threw me for a loop. And then, like you, I did not buy the story at all. It
Yeah.
just did not work for me. And for me, it didn't work on two levels. Like, one, you thought you might be sold some kind of conspiracy, like crazy underground story with like hints of sci-fi in it. But then at the end, they try and like flip it on its head and turn it into something completely different.
And it ruins it.
It ruins it. It's like totally disconnected from the rest of the movie. And then on top of that, the twist doesn't work anyways because you're not shocked by that point. It's kind of like, oh, of course they're going to go that way.
Yeah, and I had a feeling that they were going to go the first way.
Yeah.
That they do twist it. We're going to do this, no spoilers because it's new.
Right.
But yeah, I thought with the first twist, I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
And then the double twist was like, oh, it's very just like adding a twist for the hell of it at the end,
Yeah.
not as at all of, as if it's like played into the whole story.
Yeah.
And it's weaved in deep, and then it turns a corner. It was just like, no, let's throw this other twist in back at the end to make you second guess again, even though the whole movie is second guessing, you know?
Dude, and then the other thing too is that I felt like this film just took itself way too seriously. And then because of that, it just made it even cheesier. Like there were that very last shot at the end.
It's hard to watch.
It's hard to watch, and I was cracking up. It's just so comical. But yeah, I was really disappointed. There wasn't a whole lot in this film I liked at all.
I like the setting.
Yeah.
I like some of the thunderstorms and some of the landscape, but that's about it.
Yeah, same here. Like there was some really cool imagery. Probably one of my favorite parts of the whole film are when they're in their janky little tent frame doing their podcast.
Yeah, they're
And, like,
easy up.
Yeah, and it looks like a frame of an Easy Up or something. And like they're podcasting outside, their crazy conspiracy podcast. It's kind of up our alley, but I like that whole little quirky thing going on. And then like the lighting in that scene was pretty cool. But other than that, like it didn't seem completely low budget, but it really felt like, you know, they wanted to save some money and shoot in like a small town, not a whole lot of locations, keep it kind of pedestrian, even with like the underground stuff. Yeah, not a whole lot going on. Let me ask you this though.
Okay.
Did you completely follow like the story, like the plot of, I guess, the main sort of plot in terms of the underground shenanigans going on?
Are you asking like, do I understand at this point what it was?
Yeah,
and what
like
they
what
were
the
trying
purpose of
to
it?
do?
Right. Yeah.
No,
Me either.
no. Like the movie is bracketed with these like strong messages about indigenous land and,
Yeah.
and borders and kind of like that type of political aspect.
Yeah.
But then I guess that it was like trying to get there in the movie because all of the people they were running tests on and putting chips in, they're all immigrants.
Right.
But no, I still don't get what they were doing.
I don't get what
So-
they were doing. I don't get why they were doing it.
I mean, is it like an electric fence? Like that's the ultimate goal?
I don't know.
You try and cross the border and you get zapped because they got those.
Yeah. I will say I did like how the film opened.
Yeah,
Like
me
the
too.
opening
It
was
was like, oh,
interesting.
This is intriguing.
Yeah, for sure. But then
But
once they try and go down the road to explain what's going on, it just didn't make sense to me.
I mean, it made sense to me. It just wasn't very interesting.
Yeah. The other thing too was, so the main character that Aaron Eckhart plays, Arthur Bretnick, his kind of personal backstory gets tangled up in what's going on. And that was another connection I didn't make. I was like, I don't know why, but it seems like it's kind of important and there's a key reason as to why he's tangled up in all that mess. And that was another like dead end plot line.
Kind of.
I don't know.
I mean, they pay it all off in the end.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, it would have... How do I say this without giving anything away? So his emotional struggle, right? His family things.
Yeah.
It would have been much better if they weren't wrapped in to the whole plot.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying.
Like if he was paranoid to the fact where he thought it was,
Yeah.
and that's what's driving him,
Right.
and then it turns out it wasn't,
Mhm.
and then the other stuff that he comes across or doesn't,
Yeah.
if that stuff was left kind of on its own, it's almost like a parallel story.
Right.
So you could have got different payoffs from the plot line, but it's all gets weaved together and it's not good for it.
Yeah, I just thought the whole plot in general was just kind of messy because they try and weave all these little ends together and they just don't really come together as clearly as you would like.
Or neatly.
I mean, not that every film has to have this neat little story structure, but this film is kind of all over the place. At least what I felt like when I first saw it. And it kind of sucks because I feel like the movie is hitting on some interesting themes. Like, I liked how loss kind of plays pretty heavy into the whole plot of this story. Loss and, like, revenge and mental illness. Even, like, some degree paranoia. Although you could probably link that in there, too.
Government overreach.
Yeah, there's all these, like, really cool themes that they're sort of playing with, but it's all just kind of empty.
It's like it hits a bunch of different notes of topics that if you dug into deeper, could be very interesting, but it almost is like it hits too many and it doesn't get deep enough on any one of them to have a coherent message at the end.
Yeah, for sure. That's the idea I got anyway, seeing it one time through.
One time only.
Yeah, one time only. You're probably right about that. For you, what was, if you had to pick like a saving grace of the plot or the story, was there something that you were like, okay, this is kind of cool? Anything that you thought maybe wasn't as bad as all the rest of it?
Like,
is that kind of a ridiculous question?
Like, yeah. So I'll put it this way: when they were thinking about writing the movie and they had a bunch of idea bubbles, on a piece of paper that connect to each other, it probably was awesome in that stage of development, right?
Mm-hmm.
It probably came across like, oh, it's this crazy conspiracy movie and it's about mental health and it's about loss and it's about the government and you know what I mean? And it's crime solving and it's, and then you start to piece it all together and it's just downhill from there.
Yeah, the thing you actually make a good point because I was sitting back thinking, how in the hell did they attract this cast with this film? And like you said, probably on paper, this looks really cool.
Yeah.
Like the script is probably pretty cool, but the execution just, I don't know, it felt like a B movie.
Yeah.
Like it felt like something Steven Seagal should be in. He's like the coolest B movie actor.
I don't know if it's that bad, man. I don't know if it's that bad. But there are some elements that are pretty bad, like Aaron Eckhart's voice is virtually the Batman voice.
Oh, dude, I caught that right away. I was like, this sounds like Batman, and I wonder if El Toddo's going to say anything about it.
And like the only part of the movie where he didn't have it was when they were doing the little podcast.
Yeah.
That was about the only time he was speaking normally.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I bet the table reads were dynamite.
Probably. I would think so, because you're not going to get Tommy Lee Jones and Aaron Eckhart, or Catherine Winnick for that, on something like this if it's not somewhat intriguing on the page.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless they were like, this just sounds like it's batshit crazy and it sounds like it could be fun.
Yeah, because it's a pretty banger cast.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to... I'm trying to think of like a parallel, right, where a movie had some wicked cast. That you probably won't like this. But Knives Out?
Yeah.
I kind of put this in that same deal.
Oh, in terms of the quality?
Like a really good cast.
Yeah.
And it probably comes across great on paper, but trying to do way too much. Like how that movie was trying to make it so, like a game of Clue where everybody could be the killer and it just gets a little convoluted.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's maybe a comparison. For me.
Or maybe similar, yeah. One thing that you can say for sure is that critics hated this movie. Well, to be fair, though, all 16 of them hated this movie.
Oh, there's only been 16.
Yeah, so it's not even like certified rotten or fresh. But interesting enough, it has a 95% audience score.
So that has to be the biggest difference between scores that we've done on any
Yeah.
movie. It has to be.
And I don't know if these are verified like fan ratings, but on paper anyways, that just looks ridiculous. That's crazy.
Or maybe they they probably hit the conspiracy theory weirdo niche with this, and there's guys out there making YouTube videos right now about how this is really happening.
Dude, can you imagine how many
podcasts? Storm
podcasts?
some town in New Mexico looking for
Yeah.
chipped humans in a bunker underneath a freaking auto shop.
I'm just curious to know how many conspiracy theory podcasts are on like iTunes and Spotify.
Oh, dude! There's
After the
probably
show,
millions.
I'm gonna look up a couple. I bet they even published the one they did for this movie.
You think there's more movie review podcasts or more conspiracy theories? Over or under? Which one?
Oh, probably more movie review ones. Just because I feel like they're a little bit. No, I can't say that. I feel like they're
Who
a little
knows?
more easier to do.
Conspiracy is about as easy as it gets.
Yeah, because
you
you
don't
can just
say
make
no
shit
to
up, right?
anything.
Yeah.
You don't. It's not that you make shit up, but it's like you look for connections in anything and everything. And if you look,
Or you
hard
see
enough,
connections anywhere.
Yeah, or you see them, right?
Yeah.
So
Maybe it's about even. But yeah, that's something I'll do maybe after this show. I'm curious.
so before we go into characters,
Yeah.
how I kind of already said how I thought about the ending. I thought the way it ended wasn't good, and they should have stopped while they were ahead.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I thought the ending was so predictable, I was bored. It was like incredibly boring and predictable. And I will say,
Like, so the last scene, right, with Catherine Winnick, Tommy Lee Jones, and Aaron Eckhart.
yeah.
Have you ever been less invested?
Yeah,
in
I know, right?
What's supposed to be the big payoff?
Yeah.
It's just
Like, I feel like the movie would have been-
Of course, this is how they're going to end it, right?
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like it probably would have been better if they just ended it right there. But then they kind of like do a double twisty thing at the end. And then you're like, oh, I was wrong. But yeah, I was totally underwhelmed with the ending of the movie. But thankfully the movie was an hour and a half. So if it was like a 2 hour long film, I would have been pretty pissed.
Okay. Yeah, I'm there with you.
Yeah.
It felt long to me, but I didn't really check how long it was. I just knew I wanted it to be over.
Yeah, me too. It seems like they shot it all in New Mexico. So you got some
That's what it
pretty
looked
cool,
like.
yeah, visually I think the film is interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff that we can talk about in a bit. But story-wise, it's definitely not a strength of that movie.
No.
Not at all.
Nope.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the cast of this film, because I think on a whole, it's pretty good. Well, not the cast, but the acting of the cast is on a whole pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's really just Aaron Eckhart that didn't nail it too good.
No, and I applaud his enthusiasm, I guess you could say.
Good cut.
Yeah.
I like he's certainly committed to the crazy.
For sure.
He'll put it that way. But what's up with his, like, I know his limp is from the car accident.
Yeah, okay. So I have
He's
so
got
many
like a
problems with this.
half dead foot.
Yeah. Like, did he have to have the limp for you to know that he was in the car accident? Could you have just showed the flashback, and then you would know that he was clearly in a car accident? Does that do anything for his character to show that he has a really bad limp?
Well,
Like-
and there's so many scenes where the limp is all the character that's on screen, like all the scenes where he's marching around town all creepy like. It's
Yeah.
just like it makes it. And okay, so I'll put it this way: for how crazy his character is, I don't buy that he has it together that much, like all the tech and all of the photography and all of the equipment that he has. I mean, he's throwing this handbag around that he's carrying, and
Uh-huh.
it's got like phones and cameras and sensors and
Yeah.
frequency readers, all kinds of shit in it, and he's just tossing it all over the place. I just don't buy that he has his shit together that much. And I don't buy that the cell phone service and all that in some of the areas
Yeah.
is like, I don't know, there's just a lot about it that I just didn't buy.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So like with his character, the problems I had was that limp was completely stupid. Like it wasn't needed. I also picked up on the fact that he has this little satchel and he throws it everywhere. He must have a pretty bomb case on his laptop.
Yeah.
And then I guess the thing that was the most disconnecting with the actor and the performance was he plays this mentally, I guess he seems mentally ill in the film. Like he has a lot of trauma, mental and physical. But then on top of that, he's also like with the Batman voice, he's trying to play this like grizzly old man kind of thing too. And I was not sold on that.
Yeah, like the retired private investigator or cop or whatever that he was.
Let me ask you that actually. His background as a private investigator, like a former private investigator, does that help at all with like his tech savvy side for you? Okay.
No, because none of it matches, right?
Yeah.
Like he's living in a trailer out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But inside the trailer, he's got like, 150 meg download speeds because he's got computers everywhere. And he's got all of these printed photographs and he's just got access to everything. He's got all these sensors and cameras,
Yeah.
Like, I don't buy that there's even that much electricity at his property to run all that shit. And then he's got like an automatic gate on his dirt driveway.
Yeah.
But it's not any type of fence that people can't just jump right over. It's like 4 feet tall. There's just a lot of it's just not good inconsistencies, and you just can't buy it. And it's like his car, right? His car's just like a rundown piece of shit.
Yeah.
But it's filled with tech that you never see, because every time he goes to these towns and sets up his little station, he's got like mad computers and stuff. Like there's just a lot of.
It's like a ghetto Batmobile.
Yeah, it's made to look like a rundown old car.
Yeah, he was unfortunately, he was the...
And I don't think a lot of it is his fault, to be fair.
No, and like I said, it's not that he's a bad actor. I just don't think this was the role for him. I mean, if that's what they were going for, they could have picked 50 other people to be in this role.
I'm trying to think of another conspiracy guy. I can only think of Mel back in the 90s. Was that the 90s?
Oh.
Where he eats the tapioca pudding and he has the crazy apartment in New York with all
Yeah,
the spoons.
yeah.
It's Mel Gibson, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any other crazy guys who are crazy because of conspiracy theory characters.
Randy Quaid in Independence Day.
Oh, yeah. he's quite crazy now.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would have been better.
Yeah, I don't know.
But look, why don't we flip this? Why isn't Tommy Lee Jones Arthur?
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Think he could have pulled off the role?
I think he could.
He's always like cowboy kind of lawman.
Let me ask you this, because I was also thinking of this. Do you think they could have told this story without him?
Without Tommy Lee Jones' character?
Yeah, without his character in there? Yeah, they could have totally pulled it off, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that was kind of like another question. I'm like, what is the reason he's even in here?
Well, he's undercover, man.
Yeah, I get that. But I mean, I like the way he played his role. That was great. I could see him playing Arthur Bretnick in the film too. I think he could have pulled that off, like an older guy. I could have bought more of the grizzly, like old man with someone like him in the role, but not Aaron Eckhart.
So Tommy Lee Jones looked quite a bit younger than I expected him to look.
He looked like he lost some weight.
He did.
Yeah.
What was the last movie you saw him in?
Oh, man.
I know No Country for Old Men, but that's quite a while ago.
Mine's not that old,
right?
but Captain America. He was in Captain America.
Okay.
The last time I remember seeing him. But yeah, he's one of those great actors. Oh, no. Yeah, Lincoln was another movie he was in.
I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, and I forgot he's in Ad Astra. That's a sci-fi film.
We didn't do that.
No, that
was before we started.
Yeah, way before we started. Well, actually, not really. It says 2019.
I think it was like out when we were talking about doing it.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, he's been in some stuff, but like I said, again, it was just interesting that he would be drawn to a film like this. But yeah, like I said, I enjoyed his character in this movie for what it was. The character I was the most disappointed with was Catherine Winnick's character, Elsa, because I thought she was completely wasted. Like, she's barely in the film, dude.
I know.
Such a waste.
She's like the shadowy government agent who's got her fingerprints on everything.
Yeah.
And then every one of her lines was just like, felt like straight out of like a cheesy remake of Men in Black or something.
Yeah, right? She was like total cookie cutter, that type of character.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, that was a total bummer and letdown. I will say Heather Graham,
I liked
she
her
got some
character a lot.
Yeah, I really liked her character, and she got some good screen time too. And I can't
Yes.
remember the last film I saw her in.
I can't. Austin Powers.
Yeah, I think that's the last film I ever saw her in. Crazy.
But
Yeah, I don't know what she's been up to.
She's awesome though.
Yeah,
She
for
looks
sure.
Great.
And
She
for
doesn't
me,
look like she's aged at all.
no. And that's like the total kind of type of character I see her playing in a movie like this. So she was completely believable in that role for me. What about some of like the cast members a little bit farther down the list? Anyone that stuck out to you at all particularly?
I mean, there's not many people.
It's not a
Raymond
huge
Cruz,
cast.
He plays the sheriff,
Mm-hmm.
and he's almost not super believable either.
No.
Like that scene where he walks up to Arthur when he pulls him over when he first gets
Yeah.
into Wander. That scene was really bad.
Oh yeah,
Wasn't
the
it?
other character I thought was ridiculous was that Tanya, played by Nicole Steinwedel. She plays, I guess, Arthur's wife or ex-wife.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dude,
she's
like- I don't know.
can't respond. She's like almost vegetable level.
Yeah, and you don't know if she's a vegetable or if
Conscious.
she's just like mentally messed up from everything that happened.
Right, because there's like little tinges of emotion when she's
Yeah,
talking to Arthur at the home, at the hospice or whatever it is.
right.
Like at one point you can almost see like, oh, she does understand what he's saying.
Yeah,
And then that's the end of that.
but she's almost completely stone-faced like the whole
And-
film.
Yeah, so let me get this straight. So Heather Graham is her sister, right?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Oh.
See, I
Oh.
didn't take it that way. To me, I thought maybe she was like a family friend or something.
Heather Graham was just a family friend?
Yeah, that's what I thought maybe.
Oh, I thought she was Tanya's sister.
Like, are you seeing a last name for Tanya?
No.
Because, yeah, on this cast list here on IMDb, she's called Shelley Luscombe, and then they just have Tanya listed. I don't know.
But she does say she's Arthur's lawyer at one point.
Yeah,
So maybe that's the only connection they have?
maybe. But
Who
at either
knows?
rate, she seems pretty close to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, really weird, like, character dynamics in this movie. Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, too. So, like, Tommy Lee Jones's character, Jimmy Cleats, like, he seems to have a history with Arthur. Like,
But
there
they
seems to be
never-
some kind of history between them, and then all of a sudden that just gets thrown out the window.
Yeah, because it kind of takes you to this place where, like, you don't know if anything Aaron's character has experienced throughout the whole movie really happened or not.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And, like, would you buy that a government would send an agent that deep undercover, like, to the point where he has a conspiracy theory podcast with a guy? Just
Yeah.
to
No way.
get him to come to Wander so you can pin the ultimate kill on him.
Yeah, that's...
Like, there's just a lot about it that I don't buy.
Yeah, it just doesn't add up. And then their operation, for as important as it sounds, like, the way they hide it, like, you're going to hide your operation like that? Like, any kid walking around on a Saturday evening can, like, stumble in on your operation.
Yeah.
It's not a big secret, but I don't know.
Yeah, none of it's buyable. None of it's buyable at all.
Yeah. All right, so if you had a gun to your head, all right, and you had to pick, like, favorite performance in the movie, who would it
Heather
be?
Graham.
Same.
Yeah, not
For
even
sure.
close.
Yeah, totally.
She might be the only one that I kind of bought even.
Oh, yeah.
I bought Tommy Lee Jones as Jimmy undercover, you know, but when he is his slickster cop at one point, or secret agent, I didn't buy that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nope, me either. Pretty let down, but so much potential.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, for sure. We all know football teams like that.
Oh. Don't even get me going.
Sorry, too soon.
Both of us are
For
having
sure.
bad years.
Yeah.
Both our teams.
My team's a joke. All right.
My team's been a joke for 5 decades.
Dude, my team's not far behind. It's not far behind at all. We had
Anyway.
one Super Bowl embarrassment.
But I remember you getting to the AFC Championship game not too long ago.
Yeah, just if anyone cares, we're talking about the Detroit Lions and the former San Diego Chargers.
The Superchargers.
Superchargers, yeah. So much cooler.
Anyway,
all right.
let's move on in this shitty movie to another shitty portion of the movie.
All right. So I think we have a few differing opinions on this, maybe. But let's see. So cinematography, you said you weren't a big fan of the shaky cam.
Didn't like the shaky.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing I liked about it was some of the wide angle stuff with the landscape
Yeah.
and some of the shots of him limping around. Like, I have like this idea in my head of some cartoon, like Scrooge McDuck or something, his limp, that it reminded me of.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, a lot of the shaky cam stuff. I did like the color palette.
Oh, yeah. Something cool about the color palette, right?
Yeah, I
Like
like
really
the,
rich.
The dry, deserty contrasted with like the dark skies and the thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And then like the darkness of his psychosis and the place where they're doing, which like I like. There was a lot of really good light and dark mix up.
Yeah. That whole sequence where they're podcasting, I thought that was like my favorite sequence. I loved all the like weird, the tilts that they do and the weird close-ups and how the light on the screens of their devices is like hitting off their faces. It kind of amps up that feeling of the kookiness with their conspiracy theory podcast. That was pretty cool. And I just thought that the area, the location they decided to shoot in was pretty interesting too.
Yeah.
Somewhere out
They
in
said
New
it was
Mexico.
all shot on. I wasn't quite certain if they said they were shot on reservations or if this was just, ancestral land.
Yeah.
It was like Navajo, Pueblos, and Apaches, right?
Yeah, something like that. That was another kind of letdown. Like they have this little blurb in the beginning of the film, and maybe you could say that they were like on reservation land, but they don't play that into the plot at all. It's just kind of like quote unquote immigrants.
Yeah.
And that was a total letdown. I thought that was going to play into the plot a little bit more.
Me too. It made me think so much like, oh, even maybe this was just like something they wanted to say. It had nothing to do with the plot. This was just like a PSA on their behalf, just getting it out there like this is still occupied land, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I was hoping for a deep storyline with that intertwined into it, but it ain't there.
Yeah. Watching the trailer, because you did watch the trailer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did it seem to you that the story they sold in the trailer was going to be a lot like more real world?
Yeah.
That's what I thought too.
So the whole conspiracy theory stuff didn't come across at all in the trailer to
No.
me. And that's what the whole movie is.
I thought it might be like a kidnapping kind of story where they're trying to hunt down someone, but they totally threw me for a loop.
It's like Tax Collector
Yeah, a little bit like that.
with how far off the trailer was from
Mm-hmm.
the movie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, what did you like? I know you like that scene. Any of the shaky cam stuff did you like?
Shaky cam's interesting because I think there are some films where shaky cam works really well. And one that comes to mind is Saving Private Ryan. Like a film like that where you're like first person, you're trying to get in with people like on the ground. That works cool, but in this movie and
It's
even
never first person.
it's never first person, there's no real need for it. Maybe unless they were trying to go for like a documentary kind of feel with the whole conspiracy aspect. But other than that, after a while it can get pretty taxing in terms of like following it for an hour and a half. It gets old really fast. Like, remember that Superman movie I told you about? The most recent one that came out with Kevin Costner and Diane Lane?
Mm-hmm.
That film is completely, entirely shaky cam.
Okay.
And, yeah, Zack Snyder got a lot of flack for that, I think, at the time, because everyone was like, what the hell is up with the shaky cam? Like, it doesn't do anything for the movie.
But even you say, I think it's one of those moderation type things, right? Because in Saving Private Ryan, it's not like the whole movie's like that.
I don't think so,
It's
yeah.
just like the intense warfare scenes.
That's the thing. Like, yeah, I don't think there's... If that film isn't shot entirely in shaky cam, I can't think of a better reasoning to have shaky cam footage throughout the whole film than that movie, and they don't even do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely something that I think for an audience you want to do in very select sequences. But this film, if I remember correctly, it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Almost.
And then it's constantly dripping between this conscious world that he's living in and his conspiracy pinball machine
Yeah.
of memories inside his head and connecting everything.
Right.
And it's even shaky cam like in his memory.
Yeah. Like for you watching that, does it screw with your eyes at all, or is it just like annoying to watch?
It's a little annoying.
Yeah, same.
It doesn't like make me sick or anything.
Yeah.
It's just a little annoying.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah,
Dude,
I think
like
we
you
both
remember
saw this
Blair
film.
Witch, how
Yeah.
annoying Blair Witch was back in the day.
See, okay, a movie like that though, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be like this weird
Right.
first person almost.
It's like almost home video footage.
Yeah.
So I totally buy into that. But something like this, I think they're just trying to be stylistic about it, but it is like very hard to watch. I don't know why people go for that. I don't know.
I don't know.
Any of the there's not a ton of special effects in this movie, but let me ask you this. The special effects that we get in this film, did they seem decent in terms of their quality, or did it seem like it was pretty low budget?
Like the corpses and stuff seem pretty low budget.
Yeah.
And then like I guess there's not much when he gets shot, right? Looks
Yeah.
fairly real. But
Mhm.
then the corresponding wound that he had did not.
Yeah.
Didn't look as consequential as like the bullet shot that he took.
It looked like a scratch, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of confused by that too.
Yeah, like it took like it had like a hit with a thud, you know, like that thing went in and hit bone or something, but
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
yeah, I don't know. I guess the only thing in this whole category that I kind of liked is like the color palette and some of the look.
Yeah, for sure.
Of,
Same.
like, the landscape and stuff. But like the decapitated body, no,
No.
didn't really do it for me.
No.
You? Same deal?
Same. I feel like out of all the films we reviewed, we almost watched this the same way.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much on board. We can skip ahead to score a little bit. I mean, I don't even know if I have as much to say about the score as you do. I don't even really... Nothing stuck out to me at all about the score, and I don't know, but you seem to have a pretty strong opinion about it.
It was just really freaking loud at a
Yeah.
few points because I got my new setup with the sound bar and the woofer on like a hollow box, so
Oh, sweet.
it shakes really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the TV really loud.
Yeah.
And there was like in the beginning it happened. I think it's like after the initial scene with the car wreck at the
Mhm.
edge of town. The music got so loud and so like overbearing that I couldn't focus on anything.
Yeah.
And then there were just points throughout the movie where it just really, really bugged me and stood out as bad.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like an orchestral thing, right? There was all kinds of different music in the movie.
It was like
there-
electronic stuff, right?
Yeah, and then there was a couple of parts where it was like, okay, that's kind of different because there was like almost like some songs that felt like the area geographically, like it felt like they represented the area well.
Yeah.
But I think they're way off on volume level at certain points. And my lady commented at one point, she's like, they play crazy loud music like something's going to happen and nothing happens, you know? So like the timing was way off.
Yeah, either the
me.
timing or they were like, this is going to be boring. We need something to try and keep their attention.
Right? Oh, that's a good point too,
Yeah.
because so much of the movie is just kind of like him
Yeah, for sure.
either moving around or sitting losing his shit thinking.
Yeah.
And it is quite boring.
I'm almost positive that's what that was. Did you catch when he was in the bar that they had some like native music going on? That was pretty cool.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, gotcha.
Like some of the stuff that was like a diegetic thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And
that was all pretty cool.
Those were the points where I was like, okay, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, I thought it was pretty unremarkable.
Yeah.
Not my favorite. Man.
Oh.
Well, here's the thing, though. I think we're being completely fair. I don't think we're shitting on this just to shit on it. I don't even know if we're shitting on it. I think we have, like, really valid points.
No, and they can't all be good.
No way. Yeah.
I think there is a letdown factor, though, from the cast list.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? It almost feels like wasted. Because it's just like it didn't fit.
No. Didn't fit for me either. Well, rather than draw this out, I say we get into our love-hates.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with you.
I don't love anything about the movie. I like that I saw Heather Graham again, and she was the only believable character in the whole movie. And then I like some of the setting. Some of the landscape shots were pretty. And what I hated about it was that I was so disappointed given the cast list.
Yeah, for sure.
I was expecting it to be awesome, and it was not.
No.
And I'm very happy that I rented it.
Me too.
What about you?
Me too. Well, I think I loved that I rented this movie.
Okay, bam.
So that's a love for me. I'll pick a love. I'll say that I loved where the film was shot. I loved some of the imagery that was captured. And I think that's kind of like 50-50 with good cinematography. It's like, one, you got to film something that's worth filming. I think they got that part of it down. But it has to also be how you film it. And that's where it kind of disconnected for me. Just on a whole, yeah, the cinematography was shaky. And then hates, like you, I'm pretty let down and bummed out with the potential of the cast. And specifically Aaron Eckhart, because when I think of Aaron Eckhart, I think of some of these really cool roles that he's had and he's done a really good job with. I'm thinking particularly like Two-Face in The Dark Knight. I thought
haven't seen that.
He did a really good job in that movie. And he can take it to a level that's really serious and really kind of piercing. In this film, though, I thought he just took it a little bit too far. To the point where it was like almost silly.
Yeah, comical.
And again, I'm not so much pinning that on him as much as I am that this role just, I don't think, fit him very well.
He's in Thank You for Smoking, right?
I think so, yeah.
That's what I remember him from.
Yeah.
And I like that movie.
And the rest of the cast was fine. I really didn't like that we didn't get more Catherine Winnick in a more interesting role. That was a bummer.
Total bummer.
But yeah, Tommy Lee Jones was fine in that role. Heather Graham, I think she was the most well-cast actor in this whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then another hate is this story was just so messy. It was all over the place. It was like throwing pasta at the wall. And I don't know what they were trying to say, if they were trying to say anything at all. Let me ask you that real quick. Do you think this movie was trying to sell something or trying to put out a message? And if so, like, what the hell was the message?
No, like if, the right message dealing with conspiracy theory folk is like, develop some critical thinking and just don't say yes to every little thing, right?
Right.
Because that's how you easily work out that they're nonsense.
Yeah.
And if the message would have been, that, because I think everybody's a little exhausted with the amount that conspiracy theory that community has influence on the whole society, right?
Yeah. So they kind of do the exact opposite, right? Instead of saying, be careful with your conspiracies, they're like, your conspiracies are all valid.
They're all true, And that's the wrong message to be giving these idiots. And that's why I think the Rotten Tomatoes score is 95 with the audience, because it's all conspiracy theory idiots who are seeing it. And that's a clue, man.
Yeah. Well, it's just all silly to me.
It's all over the place. And then the message that they do convey about the land stuff at the beginning, they don't even go anywhere with that. So
yeah, there's just a bunch of these dead end. plot
Could have
lines.
been a message there,
Yeah.
but it's
I
not.
mean, this whole film could have just been about mental illness and it would have been more effective.
That's why I say they should have ended it
Yeah.
before the other twist,
Right.
because then you could have taken that route of like kicking the conspiracy theory
Yeah.
ethos in the nuts, right?
Right. Yeah, it doesn't even do that. So it's kind of disappointing.
Wah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's put this on our meter, our score meter.
Okay, you go first this time.
Okay. So the fact that oh man. I don't even completely like the cinematography. I somewhat like the cinematography. So if I'm going strictly off of like numbers, I got to give this like a half.
Oh, dude.
Like a half bucket of popcorn.
You're stealing my thunder here. That's where I was going.
Because, like, I don't like the story. The characters were okay, but the most
casting
important
was
one was
bad.
terrible.
Yeah.
Cinematography was whatever. Score, not good. The story was awful. I didn't like it. Like,
And the fifth one, the umami, you know,
Yeah.
you didn't get that feel.
just straight didn't like it. So, yeah, it's a 0.5. Half a bucket of popcorn from me.
Yeah, same here, dude. Mine is a tiny little half snap in a bong, dude.
It's the saddest bong I've ever seen.
It is the saddest bottom of the shaky bag that you've been nursing for 3 weeks. It is the last little half bong load snap that you get before you know you gotta go buy some more weed.
Yeah.
Boo.
No feel goods from that.
Just yeah, same deal. On my scale, the stories no point, characters, casting, acting no point, cinematography and the look is the only thing I'm giving a half a bong load for.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
then the score no point, and the feels nope.
Yeah. I think we're being completely fair. That's what's hilarious.
Being
I have no
objective.
reason to hate this movie other than for the reasons they gave us.
I'll put it this way: like if we weren't doing the podcast and I found myself watching this movie, I would have turned it off.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you.
You know, I wouldn't have finished it
Yeah, same.
because I had a really hard time taking Arthur seriously.
Yeah, I think, and if you can't do that, this movie doesn't work.
That's why Batman don't work for me.
Gotcha.
Can't take it seriously.
I totally get you. Oh, man. Well, that's it. I don't have anything else to say about this.
Boo.
Bummer.
I'll just boo this movie.
All right. Well, let's get out of here. That has been episode 51 of the Buff and the Blazer podcast. I'm Drew here with El Toddo, and we will catch you guys on the next episode. Have a good week, everybody.
Peace.